that I really didn't give a lot of, preparation for. There are two items from my blog called the kittycityreport.wordpress.com, and I need to be more regular about writing it, but it's my favorite blog. I just sit down and write it. I don't worry about it. I just have fun. And I can't remember what the subtitle is, but it basically is a newspaper run by my indoor cats, and it reports all the important news that indoor cats have in their little tiny universe, outside of the window, in the house, heard from people who come into the house. So the first one I would like to read went up on May 16th, and it's always done in a reporter style, the Cats report, and the dateline is always Walmartville, Missouri. Dateline, Walmartville, Missouri, story by Wolfgang Amadeus, investigative reporter. It's entitled, Local Cats Involved in Dramatic Bird Rescue. Earlier today, 2 local cats were involved in a dramatic bird rescue that occurred in the backyard of 2 longtime friends of the Tadler staff. Early in the morning, 2 domestic shorthairs, Twitch and Pearly, noticed something odd about a gutter drain pipe. Their keen observation of the drain pipe in question in turn drew the attention of their guardian, Dr. K, professor emeritus of the nearby university. While she noticed the preoccupation of the cats, at first Dr. K assumed it was merely part of the normal morning rounds of the 2 felines, who maintain a constant vigilance against intruders. However, while gardening a short time later, Dr. K was startled by a loud banging coming from inside of the pipe. She instantly realized that something alive was trapped in it. The lower end of the pipe appeared to be deeply clogged by dirt and seeds from a tree in the yard. Obviously, time was of the essence if a life was to be saved. Working furiously to free the trapped creature, she dug into the clog from below, using a coat hanger, spurred on by the encouragement and intense interest of the 2 house cats. Despite her best efforts, the clog seemed unwilling to move, although it was clear she had made a dent in it. The 2 cats urged her to seek help from her spouse, Dr. B. He had left on errands, so for a brief period, there was some concern as to the fate of the poor creature still trapped in the pipe. But upon his return, Dr. B received details of the emergency from both cats and Dr. K. He immediately leapt into action. With great care, he used a gentle stream of water from below to finish loosening the clog, releasing what turned out to be a bird trapped above it inside the pipe. According to witnesses, despite its ordeal, the bird came out of the pipe somewhat precipitously and instantly flew away at high speed. Dr. B was jubilant over the rescue, as were Dr. K and the 2 cats, Twitch and Pearly. While some neighbors suggested that the 2 cats and their human guardians should be nominated for the Local Avian Heroes Award held annually by the cable TV system's Morning Dove Inspirational Network, it was pointed out quietly by Dr. K and Dr. B that Twitch and Pearly had both been involved in some trouble with the avian authorities in recent years for what can only charitably be described as aggravated assault on our feathered friends. It was suggested that their interest in the rescue might not have been entirely altruistic. However, it is the opinion of the Tadler staff, in the words of the immortal bard, all's well that ends well. We applaud the efforts of everyone involved and suggest that our friends across the avian community might take a lesson from this entire incident. Many cats and people have been noticing the recent reckless behavior by a number of birds of all types who apparently have been so caught up in the annual spring mating rituals that they are unaware of the dangers that lurk in every garden and public street. While accidents can happen at any time, it's good to know that there are neighbors we can rely on to do their best to make this world a little better and kinder every day. So I will torture you with one more, of slightly different nature. These are all written by different reporters in the house, so they are slightly different tones. I probably should have bought the one on the UFOs sighted in the back bedroom, but I thought I would leave that for you if you want to go visit the blog and track it down. And a lot of people enjoyed the giant rat story from last year, which, alas, ended somewhat sadly this spring. So. All right, this is the 2013 Hairball Festival sets a record. Actually, yep, this is the right one. I don't know why I put that title on it. 2013 Hairball Festival sets a record. This is done by Merlin the Magnificent, Dateline Walmart, Missouri. Hi there, sports fans. Merlin the Magnificent here to bring you up to date on what's happening with the 2013 Hairball Festival. Merlin, for those of you anxiously awaiting the results of this year's competition, which was supposed to end on June 1st, 2013, the fun continues. Our competitors were so engrossed in this year's competition that they refused to let the festival conclude at the end of May, as usually is the case. Their commitment to this time-honored tradition among felines, plus the arrival of incredibly hot weather, has resulted in an outstanding display of kitty regurgitation. Miss Jemima Gray, I've got captions in here that are confusing me. Our leading competitor, Miss Jemima Gray, has outdone herself this year. She continues to produce outstanding entries in volume and frequency that, well, how she does it simply boggles the imagination. "It's my coat, dear," she said to a staff reporter yesterday in an exclusive interview. "I was blessed with a lovely gray fur that has a curious quality. It's smooth on top, but the hairs are somewhat very short and coarse underneath. Between that and a new technique I've perfected for eating kibble whole as quickly as possible, the results are exceptionally impressive hairballs. I don't like to brag, but it's nearly impossible not to produce at least one a day." Miss Gray's stiffest competition this year has come from an unlikely source, our very own Wolfgang Amadeus, the Tatler's investigative reporter. "Yeah, well, I never really competed before, but for some reason I just felt like this was the year to throw my fur in the ring," said Wolf when questioned in the Tatler newsroom. "I mean, as you can see, I got a lot of it to spare, and that dang ruff has really been bothering me this year. The publisher has already had to cut out several knots. It's a gift, what can I say?" At first, earlier in the spring, it was believed that the young cat athlete, Tristan, might make a good showing. He produced some impressive early entries, but seemed to lose steam in the last month. On the fringes, there have been some half-hearted attempts by Nicodemus, senior correspondent, and one or two artistic endeavors by Halftail, one of the neighborhood watch boys. But Halftail's entries this year have really not risen to the aesthetic level of last year's magnificent display, which readers will recall was entitled "Dead Mouse in Dry Winter Grass." But all of you art aficionados should not despair. Your reporter, me, Merlin, is working on an article on the exceptional work in other mediums by our local cat artists. In that feature story, we will survey some of the finer results of scratch art in the Tatler offices, particularly those artists working in fabric, the most popular feline medium. We will also take a stroll down memory lane and look at some of the remarkable door frame displays from the past, including my own humble efforts in the bathroom door frame, and, of course, the work of the master, Mai Tai, whose permanent installation in Halftail and Pippin's room took door frame art to a whole new level. Watch for that feature story in upcoming issues of the Tatler. Now, for those interested in the nuts and bolts of the hairball competition, there are some interesting differences between the main competitors. Wolf has his own unique technique and prefers a more moist and limp style of hairball, usually accompanied by a few warm-up spots. Miss Gray, on the other hand, is the mistress of the solid, dry, tubular style, also known as the classic around here in the Tatler offices. Of course, it's always interesting to try some different styles, and I try to make an effort to explore a little variety each year, says Miss Gray. But in the end, everyone has a favorite approach, and I have to say that I've had good luck with the classic style and expect to continue to use that for most of my entries. Another thing to remember is vocalization. Myself, B. Merlin, I need that preliminary yowl to really get in the spirit, sort of like a karate yell at the moment of the strike. But now Miss Gray prefers to go straight into her performance, and Wolfgang believes that a true master should keep his vocalization to a minimum. However, he admits that sometimes he needs a little moan or two to get himself in the mood. Both of our leading competitors say that they will keep up their impressive work until the hot weather ends, which could mean the festival may be extended for at least another month or two. That may put us rather close to the fall and winter warm-up events prior to next year's festival, but as long as the cats and the fans are having fun, I say let the fur fly. So this is Merlin the Magnificent, signing off with a safety tip for our younger feline readers. As always, remember, fur balls are better outside of you than inside. So keep on hacking.